When I know it's of God, I will go back to what gives me joy, what gives me peace, what lifts me up into his arms. If it torments me, if it tears me down, if it ridicules me, if it condemns me, that is not of God. That's the enemy, the tormentor, the father of lies. And sometimes we go through these things because we've got unforgiveness in our heart. And it's not that God is doing this to us, but he said, if you can't forgive, there's another parable, if you can't forgive someone's sins or their offenses against you, how much more have I forgiven you of? That if you can't forgive them, I'll deliver you to the tormentors until you forgive them. Now, is that unmerciful and unjust? No, he's trying to teach you how to love like he does, how to forgive like he does. That's the only way as a believer we're going to have total victory, is to be imitators of Christ. Now, it's a daily work, it's a daily process, but as long as you've got love in your heart and you're really trying and you're trying to be forgiving and understanding, I've asked the Lord several times to give me a heart of compassion and let me see people through his eyes and what he thinks about them. Just like when I read your word, Lord, teach me as if I'm right there and tell me what you're saying. So the word tonight is, don't let the storm go around you or the storms get inside of you, because when the storms or the waters get in the boat, that's when they start to sink. And it can also go back to the story of Jonah. You know, Jonah was asleep in the bottom of the boat, and the people up on top of the boat were saying, where in the world is this storm coming from? What have we done wrong? You know, God, why is this happening to us? And somehow they figured it out. It was Jonah, because Jonah was running from God. God told him to go preach to Nineveh because I want to bring salvation to Nineveh. And basically Jonah said, Lord, let them go to hell. I don't want to deal with them. Because sometimes when the Lord sends you to somebody, you don't always want to go to them because they're mean, they're nasty, but they're usually the ones that are hurting the most and need it the most. So you've got to be willing to go wherever he sends you. So when they finally threw Jonah overboard, all their trouble stopped, and that's when the whale, or they say the big fish, I think it was a huge whale, swallowed him up for 3 days, and he was in the belly of the whale for 3 days in the pitch dark, probably in there with bones and fish carcasses and seaweed. You know it had to stink in there. But Jonah was in the belly of the whale, just like Jesus was in the belly of the earth for 3 days after he was crucified. And those 3 days he was down there fighting the enemy and taking back the keys to death, hell, and the grave. Well, he rose on the third day.